Hey, what's up, everyone? Yenovah Tylervite here, and I'm going to share with you a very personal success story of my own that I don't think a lot of other people could really replicate, but I consider this a massive win in my own private life. And stick around because I'm going to tell you what this win is all about. And I was thinking, I could interview my own mother for this, I could interview my own sister for this, but if they want to do that, we'll do that at a later time. But for now, we're just going to talk about the success story. Well, I'm making Cacio e Pepe Italian right now because I am manifesting myself as a great home cook right now. And the kitchen's a little bit of a mess. You can't really see it right now, which is actually a good thing. But I'm just kind of in the process of shedding some cheese right now. And I thought to myself, this is a great time to make a video right now because I want to talk about it. So the story, like there are aspects to the story that I don't know the whole full story, but is that really necessary to know all the details, right? So anyway, my sister, right, we're getting into much more personal stuff, but my sister had run away with my cousin being my uncle's daughter, right? So they ran off together to a different state on the continent. And this was a massive surprise to most people. Now, long story short, it definitely blindsided people. It blindsided everyone involved. Let me get some pasta. It blindsided everyone because obviously they never saw it coming. Damn it, I don't have any spaghetti. Oh, I have to go with penne. And everyone's reactions obviously wasn't favorable. Anyone obviously would be like, oh crap, what do I do? What do I do in this situation? They thought to themselves. And everyone was feeling kind of hurt. Everyone was feeling kind of hurt. And damn it, where's the cheese? There it is. But that wasn't helping. That wasn't helping. And I had no idea what was really going on, I had no idea what was actually happening. But one night I rang my mother up and she was telling me about what was going on. And there were certain signs that I recognized that led up to this type of thing. So it's not like our home is abusive or anything. It's not like maybe growing up, mother was a little bit, on the edge a bit, but there was no real reason for my sister to be running away, especially with my cousin. It wasn't really necessary. But she was telling me over the phone that there were certain things happening. And these certain things were that my cousin was calling herself Jet. And as soon as I heard that, alarm bells went off my head. Like alarm bells rang, calling yourself Jet. Because I've met other people in real life who call themselves very similar names, like Knight or Vader or things like that. Anything to do with darkness. Sometimes even just looking at the moon. And, I've seen the Facebook profile pictures, a bit demonic looking. And this is where I'm leading into. And she was telling me how she was acting very strange, pouty at class. Because for some reason my cousin was able to come along to my sister's class and she was being very extremely dependent, extremely clingy, it was very unusually clingy. It wasn't healthy. It was a very unhealthy obsession. And I don't know how they manifested this necessarily, but what I do know is that it wasn't healthy. I'm going to put this cheese back in the fridge. Now, from what I gathered, based on some of the information that I was being told, and some of the prehistory that I knew, is that there was actually a demon involved in this happening. Now, if you're not Christian, then that might not make a lot of sense. But they're very real, and they can definitely wreak a lot of havoc. Now, I didn't know this, but there was an Ouija board in the mix. I was told behind the scenes that, by my own sister and cousin, that they had been experiencing demonic captivity, and I thought they were just merely a victim of it. But, no, that wasn't the case. An Ouija board had made their way into their life somehow, and they bought it, accepted it, literally used it, and had summoned a demonic entity. Not cool. Very uncool. Very not demure. Anyway, if you didn't know, demons can really... that you could say one thing, but it wouldn't really be received the way you imagine. Hot anger intensifies disproportionately out of nowhere for no logical reason. So it really interferes with your mental health, your spiritual health. Like, they don't have to physically manifest themselves in front of you to cause havoc. They can just sort of sit there in the sideline, invisibly as they are, a lot of the time. And they were, just manipulating a lot of things behind the scenes. And I didn't know that there was an Ouija board I played. I did not know that my sister had been intentionally pursuing that route. And it caused her to run away with a cousin, live with my cousin's mother, who wasn't really even in a position that could invite either of them, really, because I think they were both old enough to really take care of themselves, but at the same time they didn't even have a job. They were desperate, actually, and they actually even got my cousin's mother fired, actually. Now, everyone in my family, mother, father, yes, maybe siblings were a bit more chill, but it did take everyone aback. And that's the thing. That's where I came in, because I was like, imagine, would you really want to come back home to someone who has this much anger and reactivity and disgust and disappointment because they did something that you didn't like? Now, granted, some things are intense. It might not be justifiable. It's true. But our response sets the stage moving forward, right? So I guess I threw in my 2 cents. But as soon as I had learnt that there was a demon, I informed everyone. This was originally a secret because I had known previously that they were experiencing attacks, but I didn't know that they were literally the cause, in a sense. I didn't realize that my sister and the cousin were actually partaking in the meal of spiritism, which is actually what led to this whole situation, debacle. It's all resolved now, of course, but when I had to inform everyone that this was the problem, because this was the real problem. My sister, it wasn't her running away. That wasn't the real problem. It wasn't like that. Everyone was focused on that. Everyone was focused on her running away is the problem. I'm focused on the truth, and I'm focused on our response. And it made me realize, I came to learn that later on, that there was an Ouija board. I learned that later on. It didn't come to be straight away. But had I known, I would have probably taken a lot more action a lot sooner. There's my cheese that I've just grated. Putting it into a blender. I'm going to put some cornstarch water into the blender. And so by informing everyone, because we're all Christian, about the situation, everyone was able to much more effectively pray about the matter with much more accuracy. And the hideousness of the thing we were able to tackle head on. And with some patience and time, we were able to get my sister back. And not only that, the cousin, well, she didn't handle it well at all, I'll tell you that, when they were separated. It was a bit more of a rescue mission, to be honest. It was a very much so a rescue mission. And yeah, the time came. Like, we had no idea what was going to happen. But the leverage, I understood that the leverage was not in my sister's favour or my cousin's to be able to sustain this spiritistic involvement. It was really bad. Really bad. And so my dad actually, he went to the different state. He picked my sister up. And then she moved back in. She moved back into home and everything. Which is awesome. And now she's gone to university and all this sort of stuff. Which is great. And so it really is, like, to me, that is one of my successful manifestation stories. And the thing is, I don't know if I've really conveyed exactly how dire the situation really was. But there was no way any coach could have really helped you out with that. You know why? Because most coaches aren't Christian. And if they are Christian, do they ever tackle shit like this? Demonic entities? Do they ever do that? Like, seriously, do they ever tackle demonic entities? Because in my coaching practice, we can do that. But, you know, it's very simple. You can resolve yourself. Pray to Jehovah. Say the name Jehovah. Repeatedly, because demons don't like that name. And you can repeat that name in any language you like. And yeah, like, you don't need my help, right, to really get rid of every demon. I literally just told you how to do it. And also get rid of your crap that ever invited them in. And obviously don't go speaking to the damn spiritistic entities, like, for God's sakes. And why I say most coaches, like, I was part of a coaching program for a couple of years, and it was all about emotional safety. And I'm just thinking, there is no way in effing hell the stuff that I paid thousands of dollars for was ever going to help me with this. Emotional safety, sure, I was focused on that, bringing that to the front of the table, making sure all parties were feeling safe. But there's no way they would have ever even acknowledged demonic entities as part of the rescue mission. So yeah, I guess that is one of my great, you know, like, I give credit to God, right? Because obviously he's the thing that, the guy who made it all work out. But, you know, this is definitely one of my favorite manifestation success stories in my own personal life, where we were able to transform this entire bad situation into something that's just a completely good ending. Also, keep in mind, homeostasis, like, sudden changes, like, it's good to come back to the nice familiar feeling, especially if it's nice and warm and homely. If you are reactive, approaching dire situations with this upfront nastiness about you, then you're not really going to appear inviting, and you're not going to be someone I want to return to. So I hope that is something of interest to you. Hey, if you know what, if you want to get in contact with me one-on-one, you can check out beacons.io/Yenovah Tylervite, or you can email me at yenovahtylervite@gmail.com.